What is going on, you guys? It is your boy Matt Talks Sports, and I am back with another video. And this time, I am picking and predicting the championship weekend of the NFL. We're talking about the AFC Championship game. We're talking about the NFC Championship game, and I have a good feeling who's going to Super Bowl this weekend. I don't know about anyone else watching this video, but I have a good feeling. And also, I'm talking about my Buffalo Bills because there's a lot to talk about there. Last weekend, you saw me talk about how the Bills lost to the Broncos, devastatingly so. And I thought that was it with the Bills this year for me talking about them. Instead, the Bills fire Sean McDermott and promote Brandon Beane, and there's been a really wild week up there in Buffalo and for the entirety of his fan base because Terry Pagula and Brandon Beane, that press conference that we all had to watch was insane. And the coaches that are being interviewed for the head coaching job for the Bills is a wild list. So, there's a lot to talk about here. I'm going to talk about my Bills first, and then we're talking about the championship game, so be prepared for that. But nonetheless, let's get into it. If you made this far on video, leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe right here, right now. Matt Talk Sports on YouTube. And follow me ever at Matt Talk Sports, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I'll see you there for more content like this. So, let's get into it. Last weekend, in the division round of the playoffs, the Bills lost to the Broncos 33-30 in overtime. And the Bills' offense turned the ball over 5 times. And in my opinion, Sean McDermott coached a hell of a game. He coached a hell of a game last weekend, too. The weekend prior to the Broncos game against the Jaguars. And honestly, this entire season from Sean McDermott has been great. He's been dealing with a poor roster and really bad injuries on defense. And somehow he had the defense overperforming, especially in the playoffs. The defense was really good in the playoffs this year. And honestly, if it wasn't for the defense, the Bills wouldn't have been in that game that much because their offense turned the ball over 5 times. And if it wasn't for the offense turning the ball over 5 times, the Bills probably would have won that game easily. Instead, they turned the ball over 5 times. And Sean McDermott coached a hell of a game, and in my opinion, this is one of his better seasons as a Buffalo Bills head coach. And how was he rewarded with that? He got fired. Now, I understand the precedent. I understand the concept of it. It's been tragic loss after tragic loss after tragic loss, and seemingly this loss hit the Bills locker room egregiously hard. Josh Allen's crying, Deion Dawkins is crying, Brandon Cooks is crying. Everyone was crying, seemingly. And Sean McDermott gets fired. And I was okay with that until I found out a couple minutes after that news that Brandon Beane got freaking promoted. Now, I wanted this to happen if it were to happen. Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane to go together. Instead, Sean McDermott goes and Brandon Beane gets promoted. When clearly, in my opinion, Brandon Beane has been doing the worst job out of the two. So I thought Brandon Beane was doing a lot of colluding and doing a lot of snakish stuff within the Bills organization. So I was befuddled. I was angry at Brandon Beane. And then we got to the presser that took place midweek this week with Terry Pagula and Brandon Beane. And then I started to feel way better about Brandon Beane because he seemed like an adult in the room. And Terry Pagula made an impulsive decision to fire Sean McDermott because of what he saw in the Bills locker room after the Broncos lost. So Terry Pagula, in case you didn't see it, his reasoning was that the Bills caught that ball and the Bills got robbed. But he also fired Sean McDermott based on what happened in this game and that they lost. That doesn't add up to me. So if Brandon Cooks catches that ball, which he did, but if that is ruled a catch and we kick a field goal to move on to the AFC Championship game, Sean McDermott's probably still the head coach, right? I don't understand. So the game was not on the Buffalo Bills, but you fire Sean McDermott because of the result. Nonetheless, that press conference was insane to digest and to watch, to be quite honest with you. That was a really, really, really wild watch. I felt better about Brandon Beane, to be quite honest with you. Like, he owned up to his mistakes. It looked like he was caught off guard by the Sean McDermott firing, because clearly that was all Pagula's doing, and Pagula impulsively made that decision. So I was like, all right, fine. Brandon Beane got promoted, and he's overseeing the entire operations of Buffalo Bills football. So, hey, Brandon Beane, if you didn't know, now you know. Everything is on the line here with you. You got to make all the right decisions moving forward, and you got to help out this team, specifically 17, way more. There's a lot of big decisions being made, and Brandon Beane, now you're at the forefront of those decisions. So, Pagula doesn't really know how to navigate certain questions that were asked to him. Shout out to the people in the press that were at that press conference asking all the right questions. Great questions. Terry Pagula shitting on Keon Coleman and ultimately blaming that pick on the coaching staff. And then Brandon Beane had to be like, hey man, that was my pick too, because there's a lot of receipts on me saying I wanted that pick. But it was a wild week. It was a wild, wild week. And honestly, I'm finally over the loss. and I'm finally over the firing of McDermott, and I'm actually kind of excited to see where the Bills go from here, especially with the names that are being thrown out there. Just today, on Friday, Philip Rivers is being interviewed for the head coaching job of the Buffalo Bills, which I kind of love. Brian Daboll was interviewed for the head coaching job as well. If Philip Rivers is the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, we are living in fairyland, la la land, bizarre world, because what the hell? Philip Rivers would be the Buffalo Bills head coach. That is insane. Grant Udinski, I believe his name is, Jaguars OC, former assistant to head coach in Minnesota. He seems like a young savant. We're interviewing him Sunday, I believe. We interviewed Anthony Lynn, which I don't want. I'm liking all the names thrown out there. Hopefully the Seahawks lose this weekend and we get to interview Clint Kubiak. That would be really, really, really cool. But, man, it's exciting stuff. And Josh Allen is sitting in on all these decisions, apparently. He's sitting on every interview, which is very, very, very interesting. And clearly he wants to be a part of this new head coach search, and he wants to be a part of picking the new head coach for the team, which I agree with. Some people were stubbing their nose at that, but at the end of the day, Josh Allen is our franchise player. He has to be a part of that if you want him to be in Buffalo for the rest of his career. So I like that. And he's really good buddies with Philip Rivers. He's also really good buddies with Davis Webb, who's the quarterback coach in Denver. So if they lose this weekend, which they might with Jarrett Stidham, but he might be in talks for the head coach position as well, or at least OC in Buffalo. So a lot of interesting things going on, and I can't wait to see who's going to be the head coach. If Philip Rivers is the head coach for the Buffalo Bills next year, my goodness, great news for content creators like me, and just crazy things going on in the NFL. 10 head coaches were fired this year, and the Bills were one of them. Isn't that something? We were just in a divisional game last week, and now we're in the head coach search, and things are going left and right down a windy road for the Buffalo Bills, but I still believe in this team. I still believe in 17. I don't give a fuck what people are saying this week. All of this nonsense they're talking about 17 is ridiculous. I mean, people are doubting Josh Allen's skills because he had one bad playoff game out of all the other games he's played is ridiculous to me. Josh Allen had one bad playoff game and they still almost won, and they lost in overtime by 3 points. At the end of the day, Josh Allen got his team up 27-23, and his defense let up a touchdown. But at the end of the day, his defense was helping him out more than he was helping them out in that game. He had the ball 2 possessions in that game to win the game, and he couldn't. So that's what it is at the end of the day, but I still love 17. There's no one else I'd rather have a quarterback than 17. And I'm curious who the Bills head coach is going to be. Wild week for Bills Mafia. Hopefully we're all breathing now. It's a nervous head coaching search. Really nervous. Obviously, Bill Belichick is being thrown around, but he hasn't been interviewed yet. I doubt he's going to get an interview. Too much chaos around him and his family right now with Jordan Hudson, whatever the fuck her name is. So it's probably going to be Brian Daboll, Philip Rivers, Udinski, Davis Webb, or Joe Brady. And I don't want it to be Joe Brady. I'd either want it to be Udinski, Daboll, Rivers, or Davis Webb. I would like a little mixture of like Brian Daboll as head coach, Udinski as OC, or Davis Webb as OC. Or I'd really like Philip Rivers and whatever the fuck he wants to pick at OC or DC. The reason I want Philip Rivers is because, one, he commands the locker room. He feels like a guy that would be up Josh Allen's ass and really push him over the edge. They're really good friends, but it kind of feels like Philip Rivers would be like, hey, man, he's a competitive monster. He might be able to get something out of Josh Allen and help him develop a different part of his game that we might not know Josh Allen has ever had, IQ-wise. But it's interesting. I can't wait to see how that unfolds, and I'm befuddled here. I'm really befuddled, and I can't wait to see what's going on with my Buffalo Bills because this is important. This is important for our near future and our distant future with Josh Allen. So big decisions to be made. And, man, after the head coaching choice, there are going to be a lot of big decisions to be made in free agency and who we're going to keep, who we're going to cut. So I can't wait for that. Offseason is here for Buffalo Bills fans, but not quite yet because it is the championship weekend of the NFL playoffs, and we are talking ball. And the worst thing about this weekend is there's supposed to be a historic snowstorm this weekend. No, there might be no power Sunday, which would suck because both of these games are on Sunday. And if I have to miss these championship games because of a fucking snowstorm, I'm going to be angry. But I'm praying the football gods won't allow that to happen because we're going to get some good football here, hopefully, especially in one game. We're going to know there's going to be good football in one game for sure. And sadly, the AFC Championship game, we have to watch a backup quarterback, Jarrett Stidham, versus former team in the Patriots. Patriots head into Denver after a win against the Texans, and the Broncos coming off a win against the Bills in overtime. This game's at 3 o'clock on Sunday. The over-under is 42.5, and the spread is -4.5 for New England in Denver. What a turn of events for the Broncos. I feel so bad for Broncos fans. I just do. Because you come off of a great victory against the Bills. You beat a really touted team, a really great all-time player. And then you find out your quarterback broke his ankle and can't play in the next game or the rest of the season if you make the Super Bowl. So now you're left with Jarrett Stidham. But honestly, I can't imagine a more perfect situation if I'm a Broncos fan, because Sean Payton is one of the greatest head coaches you can ask for, and he's really great with backups. Really great. If you look at his statistics as a head coach with backups, he probably has the best record with backups as a head coach. So, man, as much as you hate Bo Nix not playing, there's no other coach you'd rather have in this situation than Sean Payton, probably. So, let's talk about it. The Patriots, both of their playoff wins have been by double digit, but honestly, both of those wins have been in spite of Drake May. Drake May has not been good. I believe he has 4 touchdowns, 6 turnovers in his 2 playoff games this year. Just not been great stuff from Drake May, which could be a good sign for the Patriots, or it could be a sign for things to come, because they are facing a very, 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 very good defense this weekend. And I know they just allowed 30 points this past weekend, but they faced Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, which, if you want to call them chokers or habitual losers, that's fine. But they're a very good offense led by a really good freaking quarterback who turned the ball over 4 times but still was able to put up 30 points. So, Jarrett Stidham versus Drake May. RJ Harvey versus Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. Diggs versus Sutton. And this game really comes down to the Broncos and if Drake May is going to turn the ball over. Is Drake May going to be able to take advantage of this Broncos defense like Josh Allen was outside of the turnovers? I'm really curious, because obviously my nightmare scenario is this. The Patriots win this game and they somehow win the Super Bowl. That would hurt my soul and make me livid. And I don't want to see that at all, because that is a nightmare if I've ever heard of a nightmare before. That is something else. The Denver Broncos defense is very good. I love Sean Payton. Matt Collins might return this weekend. Harold Landry is ruled out for this weekend. And as much as I want to pick the Broncos here, I really do. I legitimately do. I just think I think their defense is a little bit overrated. But here's the thing. The Bills' O-line was so great in that Broncos game, outside of the fumble they allowed pretty much with unblocked rusher and Nick Bonito causing the fumble of Josh Allen. That Patriots O-line is not good. We saw it last week. Drake May fumbled the ball quite a bit of times. The O-line had a hard time blocking Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Granted, I like Bonito, Zach Allen and company over here on the Denver D-line, but they're no Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. But I do think they can replicate the same things that the Houston Texans defense was able to do to the Patriots offense last week. I think this is going to be a tough out for the Patriots offense that is relatively young outside of a couple areas in Hunter Henry and Stephon Diggs. I think their O-line is very, very susceptible to pressure, and a lot of pressure will be had here. And I don't think the run game of the Patriots is as good or as effective as the Bills' run game. The Bills were able to run for 100-plus yards against this Broncos defense. I don't think the Patriots will. I think they'll have a hard time running the ball, and this game will be won with their quarterback if they win it. Drake May has to be special, and to me, Drake May is special. So Drake May could very well not turn the ball over here and be special here. But in my opinion, I don't really see that. I think Drake May continues to struggle. I think he turns the ball over multiple times here. And I think the Broncos find a way to win in Denver, and that is going to be something special. If Sean Payton pulls off a victory with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback, that would be something special. Now, the most likely thing here would be Patriots and Drake May winning and moving on to the Super Bowl, because it would be a big FU to Bills Mafia and the Bills, and people want to see Drake May versus Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl. 2 MVP candidates this year. The top 2 ones, they want to see them go head-to-head. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, but in my opinion, I'm going with a better defense. I'm going with a better O-line in Denver, and I'm going with a better interior. I think the Denver Broncos win the interior battles in this game, and I think the interior battles is what wins this game. I think the Broncos O-line manhandles this Patriots D-line, and I think this freaking Denver D-line manhandles this weak and kind of banged up Patriots O-line. This Patriots defense has been really good this year, but also they played a struggling playoff performer in Justin Herbert, and they played a really bad quarterback in C.J. Stroud. If it wasn't for C.J. Stroud at quarterback, the Texans win that game with like 30 other quarterbacks, in my opinion. So, listen, Darren Orlovsky apologized for that the other day. He didn't need to apologize. C.J. Stroud was that bad. So I'm going with the better interiors, and I'm going with the better head coach and the more experienced head coach in these situations. And I'm going with the Denver Broncos at home in altitude, and I'm going with the Denver Broncos to upset the Patriots at home and to do the Buffalo Bills a favor here and beat the fucking nasty Patriots. So let's go Broncos. This is the battle of the interiors, and the Broncos O-line and the Broncos D-line wins, and Jarrett Stidham, he's a backup. He won't turn the ball over. He's a veteran backup. He knows the Patriot system, and god damn it, he has Sean Payton leading him and leading this charge. So give me the Broncos on the line, give me the Broncos D-line and their defense overall, give me Sean Payton, and give me Jarrett Stidham to knock the ball over and to get a win here conservatively. Let's go Broncos. I'm a Broncos fan this weekend heavily. Let's find a way to do that. Beat this Patriots team that is too young and is so far exceeding their expectations for this year that it's ridiculous at this point. So let's go Broncos. They win outright as underdogs, and I think Courtland Sutton scores a touchdown this weekend. Give me Denver, and give me the interiors here. Moving on to easily the best game of this slate, and a game that is the third matchup between the two this year. Rams heading to Seattle. The Rams won the first game of this season between these two, and the Seahawks won the second one, and probably the best game of the year. Seahawks coming off a huge win last weekend against the 49ers, a blowout, just absolutely obliterated the freaking 49ers. And it was a nasty win. The Rams coming off two very close games in the playoffs, one against the Panthers and the other against the Bears last weekend. Both of them were won by 3-point margins. And this is something. A great defense versus Matthew Stafford, and the Rams defense that just straight up has Sam Darnold's number. Sam Darnold has been horrible in the two matchups against the Rams. He was a little better in the second matchup, but he was really bad in the first matchup. And the first two matchups between these two teams ended up in a 2-point win margin or a 1-point win margin. So that's really crazy if you think about it. Sam Darnold in the second game against the Rams, it was a comeback. We all know how great that comeback was. Sam Darnold had 2 interceptions, and he looked like he was shitting the bed until he didn't. He dug this team into a hole in that second matchup, and then he dug them out of it. He played really well in the fourth quarter and in overtime. In the first game of the season, they lost 19-21 in LA, and the Rams were red hot at the time. Stafford was dealing, and in that game, Sam Darnold had 4 interceptions, but they lost by 2 points. To me, this is very telling. And to me, I think this is going to be interesting. I actually think it's going to be contrary to what people think is going to happen here. I think people are going to think the Patriots are going to blow out the Broncos in Denver. I actually think that game's going to be really close and the Broncos edge that out and win by 3 points or less. I actually think the Seahawks are going to blow out the Rams. And I think we're going to get a Seahawks versus Broncos matchup in the Super Bowl. And I think the Seahawks are going to blow out the Rams here. I actually think it's pretty simple here. I think obviously this game comes down to Sam Darnold, but due to his injury, I think he's going to be pretty conservative. And I think conservative with Sam Darnold here wins this game. Don't puke down your pants. Don't shit down your pants. Don't turn the ball over and you win this game because your defense is that good. Now, granted, the Rams put up 37 points against the Seahawks defense last time, but this defense is way healthier now and they're humming on all cylinders. They are humming and they're in Seattle with the 12th man. This defense is ridiculous. The corners they have, the D-line they have, the linebacking core they have. It's a scary matchup. Now, Puka Nacua is disgusting. And Puka Nacua seemingly has the Seahawks defense number. But in my opinion, I think Stafford has been a little weird in these playoffs. Now, he's been good. And you can't put the ball in a harm's way against a defense like this in Seattle. And I think, honestly, this is shocking, probably for a lot of people listening to this, if you're listening to it. I think Sam Darnold's not going to turn the ball over this game. I think Stafford turns the ball over this game, and I think that's what the difference is. I think the defense might get a touchdown in this game for the Seahawks. And I think Sam Darnold holds on to the ball, doesn't turn the ball over, and I think the Seahawks find a way to get it done. Shaheed, JSN, and Cooper Kupp find a way to get it done, and most importantly, their defense is the most responsible for this win. I think the Rams have been playing with fire throughout the entirety of this playoffs, which might suit them in a close game, but ultimately, this is going to be a blowout, in my opinion, and I think the Seahawks blow out the Rams in Seattle. I think this is similar to the Seahawks and 49ers matchup. The Seahawks lost a very close game in the first matchup against the 49ers, just like they did against the Rams. In the second game, they won, but it was a close game. In the third matchup between the 49ers and Seahawks, they pulled away and blew out the 49ers. I think that's what's going to happen here against the Rams. I think the talent is prevailing here for the Seahawks, and ultimately I think Sam Darnold, due to his injury, will be way more conservative and way less erotic or ecstatic and incoherent in his decisions like he has been in the first two games against the Rams. He started to put it together at the end of that second game against the Rams, and this is the third matchup. I think he brings it into this matchup, and I think this game heavily relies on Sam Darnold. I think he proves a lot of people wrong here, and I'm probably going to regret my two picks here this weekend because I'm relying on Sam Darnold and Jarrett Stidham, but that's what I'm relying on. Sam Darnold doesn't turn the ball over. He started to figure things out in the second matchup against the Rams, and he gets the job done here, and he's going to Super Bowl, and I'm rooting for him to win it. I don't want Jarrett Stidham to win it. I want Sam Darnold to win it. No one in the AFC can win it this year, in my opinion. Not because they can't, because I don't want them to. It would be bad for my propaganda and agenda. So, Seahawks win, and in my opinion, they blow out the Rams. Obviously, we most likely will get Rams with Patriots, and that's probably the better matchup for Super Bowl fans. But in my opinion, we're getting Seahawks versus Broncos, a Super Bowl matchup that we saw not too far away. A Super Bowl matchup that we saw not too long ago. So, give me the Seattle Seahawks. In my opinion, they blow out the Rams. They start to put things together, and the first two games were decided by 1 point or 2 points. This game is decided by 10 or more points in favor of the Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks defense. Give me Sam Darnold. Give me Mike McDonald. Give me Tariq Woolen. And give me those nasty motherfuckers on defense in Seattle and the 12th man. So, that is it for me in the championship round weekend of the NFL playoffs. I have the Rams losing in a blowout, and I think the Seahawks blow them out. I have Rashid Shaheed scoring a touchdown, and I have JSN scoring a touchdown. I think this Rams defense is not a good one, and we'll see that even more so this weekend. I think the Seahawks finally started to figure out against that Rams defense last time out, and they're going to do even more so this weekend. This team just has so many good vibes heading into this game that it's hard for me not to pick the Seahawks here. So JSN and Shaheed score in this game, in my opinion, and they blow out the Rams by 10 or more points. So the Broncos beat the Patriots in Denver as outright underdogs, and Courtland Sutton scores a touchdown. I think RJ Harvey scores a touchdown as well. So Sutton, RJ Harvey, JSN, and Shaheed all score this weekend in the championship round. So it is your boy Matt Talk Sports. I will be seeing you Monday morning where I'm recapping the full championship round of the NFL playoffs. Hopefully it's Broncos versus Seahawks like I predicted, but obviously I wouldn't care if it was Rams versus Broncos. I just don't want the Patriots in the Super Bowl because I hate the Patriots. But nonetheless, moving forward, I'll obviously be recapping the championship round of the NFL playoffs. I'll be talking Super Bowl. I'll be talking about the draft, the offseason, and obviously I'll be talking about the Buffalo Bills when they pick their next head coach. But besides that, the NFL season, I will be doing UFC cards, the major ones, breaking them down and recapping them to see how they went because I love MMA. I love the UFC. Can't wait to get that started on this channel. I'll be talking about March Madness and college basketball, conference tourney time. I've been watching college ball this year, just not as attentively, but I still know what's going on because the NFL has been so crazy, and I just have most of my time and attention paid towards that. And then obviously NBA. I will be talking more about the NBA as it continues to go, and obviously towards the playoffs and the play-in. So get ready for that. Just because the NFL season is about to be over doesn't mean I'm done talking sports with you guys. So it is your boy Matt Talk Sports. I will see you guys Monday morning for a full recap of the championship round of the NFL playoffs, and I'll see you then. Peace.